Everyone to a special philosophical chat here on Urbanist. Now, I usually discuss history, travel, and food, and of course, everything related to those things like architecture and urbanism and urban planning and whatnot. But for once a month, I do this special philosophical chat where you can ask me literally anything about the life, the universe, and everything else. The reason I offer these philosophical chats is because since we do live streaming and it's long form and we get to go on random adventures, I want to give you a perspective of who I am, and we can all get to know each other as well through the comments too. So feel free to literally ask me anything you would like. The only topic I still don't discuss, even with this type of video, is politics, but beyond that, feel free to ask me anything. Now, aside from Urbanist, I write a lot about spirituality, about personal development, about my life, and now recently sci-fi. So that is who I am aside from Urbanist. Urbanist is not just my only thing. So feel free to ask me anything. We'll chat about life, the universe, and everything else for as long as you guys are wanting to chat for. So I'm here cozied up at home with a good hot apple cider. Oh, I'm so excited. So welcome everyone. Whoa, we got a lot of people here. Hello, Gloria. I can't hang out today, but we'll catch you another time. Thank you so much for saying hello, Gloria. Um, hello, Valentino Langston. Am I going to add anyone else as moderators? Yes. Um, I'll say it here, since the people who are tuning in probably will are hardcore fans of this show. Um, if you want to be a moderator, do comment on this video afterwards, and I might consider you. I will only seriously consider people names I recognize for moderators on YouTube. So you can put a comment after this video is done on YouTube. Nancy from California, welcome. Hello, Mo. Hello, Sue. Hello, Natalie. Natalie asked, do you have a girlfriend? No, I'm currently single. Single and ready to mingle. Dave, greetings from Scotland. Mo, good to see you. Hello, Aftab. Hello, Jacqueline. I won't answer too many super personal questions, but a lot of people are curious how old I am. I'm in my early 30s. How do you feel about Stoicism? Asked Aiden. Ooh, we already got great questions. Okay, I'll try to answer as many of you guys as possible. Um, so Aiden, about Stoicism, I'll answer briefly because I already discussed this many times before. But Stoicism, the key belief to it is that you have to persist regardless of whatever obstacle comes your way, that the obstacle is the way to live, it's the way to have a fulfilling life, is to encounter the obstacles and push through them, continue going through them. Stoicism was very inspirational for me about like 3 or 4 years ago, especially reading Ryan Holiday's books on Stoicism and his little Stoicism thoughts sprinkled in his other books. He's an awesome writer, and yeah, it was very important for me in a certain particular time of my life where I felt like I needed to persist forward. I felt it was a point in my life where effort and willpower were the way to succeed at that time. So Stoicism is awesome, but I don't think it has the full picture. No philosophy, no spirituality, in my opinion, has the full picture. So you can use whatever, from my point of view, use whatever belief system, whichever fits best at the very moment in time. And right now, I don't really need too much stoicism because I am living more life in a way where I'm kind of flowing through. I love more of the magic rather than the effort and the willpower and pushing through. Uh, that's no longer my style. But it's okay if it's your style at the moment. It's okay if you actually prefer that. That's more than cool. Whatever view I express in this video, just for everyone to know, is my own personal views. We're all having a casual conversation. For the sake of conversation, we might discuss a bunch of different things. We might discuss things that might be, you might have a different viewpoint. We might discuss historical stories, which I don't have any notes or any prompt or any secondary phone, so I'm not going to search up Wikipedia during this conversation. So do your own research. In this video or any video that you see, or literally any video on the internet, do your own research. The reason I say that is because it's so important to come to your own conclusions. I don't want to be an authority figure for you guys as you're watching these videos. I want you to come to your own conclusions. For anyone watching, for any type of content, for any type of book, for any type of educational course that you end up taking, come to your own conclusions. Because the best lessons in life or a career or an art form come from your own path, not some type of cookie cutter path that someone tells you to do. Little Maxie says, I look like a sophisticated lumberjack. Yeah, I got this shirt for Christmas. So, yeah, it is a lumberjack shirt. Hey, Eugen says, for me, you're the authority I'll come to when visiting New York City. Okay. I'm happy to be the authority for your New York City knowledge. That's cool. But please, when the moment you get here, consider exploring more of New York City. Consider finding something about New York City that I don't know and telling me about it. That would be fun. I love all the questions. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. Johanna says, Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's to everyone watching. Wishing you a prosperous and preposterous 2021. Cheers to reaching 1 million or more views this year. Yeah, I think I got more than 1 million views on YouTube. I think. Not 100% sure. Most likely, actually, because this past month alone, I got like 600,000 views or something like that. What kind of engineer are you? I have a bachelor's in electrical engineering. Is there no bench I can review? Asked Aiden. Aiden, nice to see you here. Hope you passed it well. I have a chair, my desk chair, and it's comfy. So no bench review today. You have 2.8 million now, says Cito. Oh, wow. Actually, I didn't realize. Wow. So to be honest, I actually don't look into analytics too much. So I get some people like it. I get that some creators really love digging deep into analytics. And I used to work in online media, and that was my job for quite a while. But it's not my forte. Not my forte. I rather not look at analytics because to me, urbanist is not a business per se. It's not it's not a business. It's an art to me. While I do some business on urbanist, that being selling merchandise or prints or tours, the show itself is an art to me. So I rather not focus on however money or views I'm getting on urbanist. Smile, Kika. Yeah, I'm already smiling. I entered 2021 pretty feeling good. Do you have plans that might take you away from YouTube? Not in the near future. I have one particular big job that I have in March, which will take me away from YouTube probably for a week. But Nothing gigantic. Nothing gigantic. Unless if I get hired to direct a Hollywood film, then I might not be able to do as many live streams. But maybe I'll be able to do different live streams whenever I get to directing Hollywood movies. I'm glad you can catch the philosophical chat. Oh, I'm glad, Cynthia. 4K Wanderer, thank you so much for the new year. And Stephanie as well. Happy New Year to you guys. Thank you, 4K and Stephanie, for moderating. I gotta turn off my heater because my heater is running very high. I'm already getting hot. All right, perfect. So you're pretty much freelancing all your in all your life. Yes, Jack. I pretty much do all freelancing. The Inspire Life says, if you can direct a Hollywood film, what kind of film will you direct? Ooh, great question. I would I already know exactly what I want to direct. I would direct a certain disco singing, rollerblading superhero from the Marvel Universe. I won't say the name. I'll let you find out who that person is. I would also love to direct a Doctor Strange movie for Marvel. And I would love to direct my own sci-fi epic film that has a neo-disco soundtrack. Yeah. Like Cowboy Bebop meets Studio 54. Hey, 4K says your virtual mentorship is appreciated. Oh, thank you so much, 4K Wanderer, for your super chat. Oh, I'm so glad I can mentor. You know, nowadays we have a lot of mentors who are online, that are virtual. You know, I myself haven't had too many in-person mentors, but I'm so grateful for the online mentors. Some of them don't know who I am because, you know, I just watched their show and they're gigantic. You know, people like Gary Vaynerchuk was a mentor to me a few years ago. Joanne, Joanne, you might be onto something. Mags, oh my God, some people know their Marvel Universe. But it's so awesome to have mentors nowadays that you can access online. So I'm glad to be yours, 4K Wanderer. I'm so happy to hear that. That's awesome. It comes with a lot of responsibility. So thank you for letting me know that I'm mentoring you vicariously. So that means I have a little bit more responsibility to share the wealth of knowledge I've accumulated all these 4 years. I thought you might be interested in making a before trilogy kind of movie. Yep. Oh yeah. Shirag, 100%. I want to make a lot of movies, but another one is definitely a romance movie that is very talk heavy. Yeah, 100%. I actually really want to direct romance movies and romantic comedies, aside from my sci-fi aspirations. Are you the same channel from Walking Communicator? No. Walking Communicator is a different guy. Hey, Mo, watching on Facebook and YouTube. Mo, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. I appreciate you, Mo. Thank you. I appreciate you. Happy New Year's to you too. What are your views for 2021? Asked Tyler. Ooh, great question. I don't know. I don't know what we're in for in 2021. You know what? I think as Americans like to say, and sorry for a little bit of the foul language, I think shit will hit the fan. But I'm not scared personally, if you get what I'm saying. So I think 2021 might be crazy, but it will lead to a better future or to a better now. I think usually when people don't grow sufficiently, life will smack you around very harshly. Life will keep smacking you around until you get the lesson that you need to grow, that you need to progress, that you need to be more kind and loving. I think that's the biggest thing, is that people have to be more kind and loving on an individual level and a collective level, and life will smack you around until you learn that lesson. That's what I've learned, and I think a lot of people are not learning that lesson. I think collectively we aren't learning that lesson of being more loving and being more kind to each other and to the world and to animals and to a bunch of different things, being kind in general. So I think life will probably want to smack us around a little bit more. And is that a bad thing? Depends on your point of view. Obviously, I want the best for everyone. So I will plan for the best. That's what I do personally. And I never plan for the worst. I've never been a person who plans for the worst case scenario. I plan for the best. And the reason I plan for the best is because if you plan for the best tends to happen. Or something pretty good happens. Or something even better happens. Plan for the best. Nasimia says, life is like training. You have to get your scratches as you go. Yeah. Yeah, in a way, yeah, it is. But that said, 2021, whatever happens, happens. I'm not entirely sure what could happen or what cannot happen. I hope for the best. But to be honest, that is my intuition, that we're in for some type of wild ride in 2021. That's my intuition. I don't mean to spread any type of fear or negativity. Actually, I'll leave you with this before I answer other questions. 2021 will be a great opportunity to learn some amazing things. It'll be a great opportunity to get closer to some amazing people in your life. So consider that. If you consider that, then maybe you'll have an amazing year amongst the storm that could potentially come. Panda, thank you so much for a $4.99, Panda. I appreciate you, Panda. Thank you so much. Aya Vlogs. Oh, Aya Vlogs says, thank you for always welcoming me. And so nice. I loved your 360 videos. Yes. I'm so happy you love my 360 videos. Aya. Awesome and interesting. Paul Lee and me liked it so much. Oh, thank you so much for watching the 360 videos. Hope you had a wonderful New Year's. All right. So Sarah says, such a lovely guy and outlook on life. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. Excuse me. What are your views on predestination versus free will? Ooh, great question. Asking the hard-hitting questions, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate all the questions. I might not get to all of you because we do have a lot of people tuning in, and trust me, as a live streamer, I'm going to figure out ways to make live streams that at weird times of day, so I can get to more and more of you as we go along. But trust me, if you watch my videos long enough, I will say your name and I will be answering a question of yours at some point. But I do appreciate all the questions. However, I just randomly pick questions that feel right at the moment of time, and I would say I'm doing that intuitively. So I would say I might be picking the questions that people might want to really listen to at this very moment in time. Tyler says, thank you so much for your answer. Very much appreciated. My pleasure, Tyler. Steven says, tell us more about the UK tour. Okay, so Steven, UK tour, I want to go 3 months. I don't really plan things, to be honest. So don't have set plans. All I know is I want to go to all the different little towns of the UK and Ireland. I want to visit Kilkenny, for example. Kay has gifted me so many books about Kilkenny, Ireland, and she actually is right by one of the historic castles, and she invited me to stay over. So I want to meet people all around the UK and Ireland. I want to go to all the tiny little towns, and I want to just explore the megaliths as well, like Stonehenge. And I really, really want to go to these beautiful cities with so much history, like Edinburgh, uh, Birmingham, Liverpool, London, of course, again, Dublin. All these places have such deep history. So I just want to do 3 months all around there. Why 3 months is because visa is maximum 3 months. I wish I could stay longer, but it'll be 3 months. Will it be a group tour? No, no. It'll be live streaming on my own, like I usually do. There'll definitely be guests. You'll maybe we'll meet people who make pasties. Maybe we'll meet awesome tour guide that studies megaliths. Maybe we'll meet like I went to London. I visited the HMS Belfast, and we met this wonderful woman who knew everything about the history of Winston Churchill. We'll meet cool people on the way as well. But I usually don't plan things, so that's why I don't have a set plan. I don't have a set route. I probably won't go in with a set route either. I'll just know when I'm going and when I'm coming back. That's all I know. Visit Devon and Cornwall. That's definitely my intention. I can't wait to go to Cornwall and Devon. And can't wait to learn what the difference is between both of them. We have a sofa in our place. Yes, Janet is another UKer. Can't wait to hang out with again. I already met her back in London a few years ago. It was wonderful. And my intention for going to the British Isles for 3 months is I got really hooked in the beginning of the pandemic with Bald and Bankrupt, who does videos of a lot of videos, mostly of the Soviet Union, former republics of the Soviet Union. And these places a lot of people don't go to generally. So tourists usually don't go to Moldova or they don't go to Kyrgyzstan. But he does. And he's so engaging in making these vlogs about these random places. And I realized that while people go in droves to London, Glasgow, Edinburgh, and Dublin, and maybe Belfast as well, not that many people go to all these tiny little towns. You know, there's barely videos about Bristol or Cardiff where they made Doctor Who. Why is there barely videos about where Doctor Who is made? Or Brighton or Kilkenny or whatever. There's so many places all around the UK. And personally, I'm fascinated with the UK and Ireland, so I can't wait to go. Do you like more city or the English countryside? I'll be experiencing both when I go do that 3 month expedition. Cities. I'll probably be staying the longer time, and towns will probably be like a day or two each. I'll be so happy when COVID-19 is over. Oh yeah. Roman, do I believe in aliens? Ooh, great question. So I'll tell you this: I can't wait to do videos about stories about aliens, maybe myths or conspiracy or mass sightings. For example, 1942, there was a mass sighting in Los Angeles, which was well reported in major newspaper publications. It was called the Battle of Los Angeles back in 1942. And those type of stories are super compelling. And if you've seen my show long enough, I do respect history. And I always say if something is history, but if I talk about myth, or I talk about conspiracy, or I talk about legend, I always make a point that I'm talking about those things that are not historically verified. But I like those stories. So even though I like my history, I like those other stories too. I will make a difference. I will make videos saying like, hey, this is no longer history. We're now talking about a myth, a legend, a conspiracy. And don't take it too seriously because it's fun to just learn these things. So yeah, I can't wait to cover those stories. You'll be learning about that in England because I'll be visiting definitely the Loch Ness and Stonehenge as well because there's some weird stories about Stonehenge. That's not history. That's conspiracy. Really interesting stories. Elisa says, "Me too. I like those stories." Go Roswell, New Mexico. Yeah, I would love to one day visit Roswell. One day, yeah. Um, there's a few places in the U.S. that seem intriguing. I would love to go back to Puerto Rico and show a little bit more about the history of El Yunque, which has a lot of conspiracies around aliens and store myths about the chupacabra. Alicia says, "What are your thoughts about the law of attraction?" Great question. So, will you visit any cradles of civilization? 4K, thank you so much for the super chat. Yes, yes, my intention. Mark my words, ladies and gentlemen. Once I reach 1 million subscribers on YouTube and perhaps Facebook as well, let's make them Facebook and YouTube. But once I get 1 million on YouTube, which will probably go first, I will be doing a live stream of the Great Pyramids of Giza. So my intention is fully to go to the cradles of civilization like Egypt, to go at some point, hopefully things get better in Syria or in the Middle East, to go to those areas of Mesopotamia, to go to the Tigris and Euphrates River, to go to what's the name of the place in Malaysia? I forgot the name right now, but there's some very ancient place in Malaysia as well, and Angkor Wat and Teotihuacan in Mexico City. I just want to go to all these places. But 1 million, you'll definitely be either seeing the pyramids of Giza or some type of very ancient historical site. Most likely the pyramids of Giza. Okay, so Alicia, what did Alicia ask? Sorry, I got distracted with 4K's question. I really love ancient sites, so... Alicia, what's your thoughts about the law of attraction? I fully subscribe to the law of attraction. I think whatever you end up putting out, whatever you end up giving, you end up getting back. Why? You can have a host of different reasons for it. You can say that it's divine grace, like Christians like to say, it's grace. Or you can call it karma, like the Hindus like to say. Or you can call it the will of Allah, like Islamics like to say. You can call it a bunch of different names, or you can call it the flow of life, like the Taoists like to say. You can call it literally anything. These beliefs are everywhere. David asked, "What do you believe in Jesus?" I think he must have been some type of real person. Maybe not verbatim, but there's some real individual in there somewhere. So all these beliefs are all across the world that say whatever you give, you get back. Like Jesus's proverb, which he might have said it, may have not. It might have been someone who said that later and attributed to him. But it's do unto others as you would have done unto yourself, which means do something to others which you wish will also be done to you, but don't do to others what you don't want you to experience. But why do why do all these different belief systems across the world, all these different religions that were made in different areas of humanity, why are they talking about this? Is there any type of logic to it? Is there any type of scientific reasoning for it? You can think about it in a very practical level. $1 you spend adds to the overall functionality of the economy. It's only $1. If you decide to not spend that $1, forever keep it in some drawer until you die, that dollar doesn't fuel the economy. So even money is a show of that relationship. You spend that dollar, it goes to a business, that business keeps on running, that business grows, provides more services, those services you end up using, it ends up getting better, and blah, 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 blah. The cycle continues. People end up finding more work, people end up getting more work, and they end up getting more money to buy more services, and then the cycle of the economy works. So if you can explain that type of kind of karmic relationship in money, then why is it such a leap to say that being kind to someone else will only bring kindness to your life? Or not only, but will bring some type of kindness to your life. So think about that. I'm not here to give you any answers. I'm only here, even in Urbanist, where I talk about travel and history, I'm here to have you ask you better questions. I'm here to spark your curiosity. That's what I really want to do. I don't care about giving you answers, to be honest. I don't care about the answers myself. I just care to have better questions. Hey, Zahor from Algeria, welcome. Joe, do I believe in the afterlife? Yeah, Einstein's theory of the conservation of energy, E equals mc squared. His theory is that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Hey, I missed the super chat question. Thank you so much. Let me answer that in a second. I will do a Abdoulaye. Ooh, that's a tough name. Let me know where you're watching from. Abdoulaye. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, according to our understanding of classical physics, Newtonian physics. Newtonian physics are the physics that were first innovated by Isaac Newton, and then it was all built upon until basically its culmination with Albert Einstein. And since energy cannot be created nor destroyed, we are obviously living beings that have some type of energy powering us. It could be dead, kind of a unconscious energy, right? It could just be that. And our consciousness, our way of being could just be like a computer turning on. You put a battery, the computer turns on, and boom, it runs, programs, and there we go. That's life. However, if you have this battery, whether it be a battery that is conscious, that has some type of soul, or is just merely a battery, it's still powering you. So it's still you in essence. So if some part of you, that energetic part of you, cannot be created nor destroyed, what happens after you die? Is it merely destroyed? No, at least to our current understanding of science. Is science wrong? I don't think so in this regard, because science actually agrees with every religion, every belief system that has ever existed in the history of humanity that says the same exact thing. When you die, you still keep living on somehow, some way. There's different ways of explaining it. There's different theories of what might be existing afterwards, but you still somehow keep on living. So, that said, um, is there an afterlife? I think it's rather weird if our energy source just goes into some random void and nothing happens. That'd be kind of a waste of energy, wouldn't it be? Where is it going then? Is it going through some black hole into another universe? I don't know. But it would be a rather kind of boring universe if this energy that powers ourselves ends up just disappearing into a void. That kind of sucks. So let me ask you this. Do you prefer that an afterlife exists or not? Rather than answer whether afterlife exists or not, do you prefer that one exists or not? I think that's even a better question to ask. You would make a good teacher, says Cynthia. Oh, I'm glad. Well, I'm doing it via entertainment here on Urbanist. Okay, so Ab, thank you so much for your super chat, $2.99, and remind me if anyone left a super chat or stars. Do let me know. So Eugen, yes, answering Ab's question, unless if someone else left a super chat. Ab says, "What brought you to New York?" I came here when I was an infant, so I've been living in New York ever since I was an infant. And the reason my family came over here was for better opportunities that they weren't able to find in Puerto Rico. There was better opportunities here for education and for work. So they came over here. And they just liked it and stuck around. I ended up moving back to Puerto Rico for a year in when I was in third grade. And then my family ended up realizing, oh, wait a minute, there's not that much work here. So let's go back to New York. And we did. We went back to New York. New York has a lot of jobs. I mean, people come to major cities, maybe New York, or if you're in Europe, you go to London or Paris. New York has a lot of jobs. So I think that's the main reason why people come here. Someone, Pat says, am I a history major? No, I'm a degreed electrical engineer. But I never worked as an engineer. I worked in tech and in media. So I did work with engineers, but they were of the computer kind. No, I never worked in electrical engineering. I only studied it. Ab says, okay, I want to move back. Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, man. Definitely come back. What do you think of minimalism? Says Nasima. Everyone lives their own way. I don't like too much stuff because I think you can have so much stuff in your life, either in your house or carrying things, that it weighs you down and you're unable to kind of change your life on a whim. And that feels a bit kind of stuck. So I tend not to carry too much stuff. For example, I gave away, I'm donating a bunch of clothes and shoes that I no longer need anymore or want anymore, that I want to move on from. So I do that every single year now, more and more. And books as well, give away books that I no longer need or think someone else could have much better use for them. So for me, it's good to kind of shed those things because it makes me feel more lightweight. Even though they're here at a home, I feel like if I want to move at any second, I can do so much easier. And that's not to say that having stuff is bad. But if you have stuff, if you're a maximalist, if you love your decorations and your houseplants and your pets and your artwork and everything, if you love all that type of stuff, that's okay, but you have to do it consciously, I think, because you can get lost in it. You can get weighed down by it. but it also could be something that you end up committing to. If you have a bunch of stuff, you have to commit to it, and you have to embrace the. And let me mark Mo's question so I can answer it. You have to. I think if you enjoy a lot of stuff, or you're in the point of your life, because everyone's in a different point of their lives, and I think I think it is fun in your 20s and 30s to be a little bit more lightweight because you still have the ability to kind of move around and maybe you don't have children yet. Like in my case, I don't have any children yet, so I feel a little bit more freer to move around. But if you start like settling down with the family or have an extended family or taking care of family, then then having more stuff is great. Just make sure you're committing to it. Make sure you're going in with the intention that I'm going to take care of it. If you're going to have a house plant, take care of that house plant. If you're going to have a cat, love that cat. If you're going to have art on your wall, appreciate that art on your wall and make sure it is appreciated, it is seen. That it's not just cluttering and hogging things and hoarding things, I mean. Shirley says you do not like commitment even with belongings. No, Shirley, that right now in my life I choose to have less things, but it doesn't mean that I'm afraid of the commitment to things. There's not always a relationship, a direct relationship with because everyone is in a different point in their lives. And it's okay to be at one point in your life where you want to be more on the move, and then be on another point in your life that you want to be settled down. It's okay, and it's okay to shift and move as life goes on. I think people get too stuck with thinking like, oh no, at this age I should be settled down. At this age I should be married with kids. Or at this age I should be free and traveling everywhere when I actually just want to be settled down. I think we listen too much to that noise from society saying, "Oh no, we gotta do this because we're that." Nah, forget that. Do you? You do you. You know, back in 2019, early 2019, I took a break from a bunch of things, and I decided to let go of that. And it just manifested as me staying at home, listening to talks about spirituality, reading books, and just having very quiet days, doing not much. And it was one of the best times in my life. It was exactly what I needed. But now I'm in a point in my life where I just want to do a whole lot, and I'm having a blast as well. Dutch says I take life as it comes. Hmm. Mo. Okay, so Mo, thank you so much for the super chat. Mo says, do you think you would be able to live in the ashram? I don't want to live in the ashram. Would I be able to if I had to? I think yes. But I don't want to live one. Because I don't know. I like cities. I feel this special little feeling in my heart whenever I am in a major city. When I'm in New York, I see those shining buildings and all those skyscrapers and all the commotion and all the speed and people hanging out and about. I felt the same energy in London and cities like Paris, that I just love being in that kind of vortex of energy. So to me, that's why I enjoy the most at this very moment in time. Of course, we all have our own different personalities, our different preferences. But for me, that is what I enjoy is being in the chaos of a city. It's really fun. Thank you for the question, Mel. Martin says you have a question on the screen. Indeed, I do. I can put them on the screen. Can I live in the monastery? I don't. The monastery is very similar to ashram. So ashram, if people don't know, ashram is basically a monastery. It's a place where more about silence, more about meditation, more about communicating with the divine, whatever that might be. In the monastery, it's God. In the ashram, it's divinity itself, or Om, or whatever you want to call it. Um, you know what? One thing I really love to do is a live stream in a monastery. I would love to go to one of these very far off monasteries in the mountains of Europe that are very hard to get to and do a live stream there. And, it would depend on the technology of live streaming, but it would be so cool to get a tour of a monastery from a monk, and maybe drink a beer, a very silent, contemplative beer, all on live video with that monk that probably he brewed it himself. At least for Christian monks, like Benedictine monks. That would be so cool, in my opinion. Let me know if you would watch that. Or go to Tibet. Yeah, Molly says Tibet. Yeah, go to Tibet and go to one of the monasteries in Tibet with a Buddhist monk. And just do a very slow live stream. That would be so cool. That would be so cool. It'll just like talk about the history of the monks in Tibet. When did I start my YouTube channel? 4 years ago, a little bit less than 4 years ago, like 3.5 years ago. 3.5 years ago, but I started live streaming consistently on YouTube back in August, was it? August. Yeah. Ashley says, Ariel, pray love. Making a reference to Eat, Pray, Love. Yeah, I love that book and that movie. Great book and movie. Yeah, absolutely love it. She's such a great writer. Andrew says, the meaning of life is a dance. Yeah, indeed. That's a great way of looking at it. What city do you want to see after COVID? All the cities in the UK and Ireland. Dublin, Edinburgh. Dublin, Edinburgh, I would tell you. You went to the riverboat and I asked you, what Starbucks order was it? Oh, cool. August. So yeah, August I think is when I started. Or late July. No, it might have been late July. Yeah. I also don't track too much of dates, to be honest. What's your best criteria to measure success? Says Brian. Oh, Brian, great question. I've been on a roller coaster ride with that. So to me, success used to mean like making money, or having some type of, recognition. Might be a award from your field of career. For me, like an Oscar, or having a 1 million subscribers. I thought that was success. But I end up realizing in my own life, and of course your definition of success is a very kind of subjective thing as well. So everyone's going to have a different version of success. But for me, I end up realizing that success is having fun at the very moment in time. That success is feeling good, is loving, enjoying life. Success could be sitting on the bench staring at the leaves falling down, which I myself have done many times and have felt successful at the very moment in time. Or success can be making a live stream and getting 150,000 views, which I did a few weeks ago during the snowstorm. That also feels like success. But in a more kind of practical way, for me, success means making the best art I can possible. So in this case, it would be live streams and movies, making the best live streams slash movies possible. That to me would be success. How much money I make from them is not really the success part. I have goals for that. I have intentions to live a wealthier lifestyle, but the success part is making something that I feel really proud of. And you know what? I listen to a lot of creators here on YouTube or on Facebook. And let's not name any names because there's a few very popular ones that frequently talk about that they are very harshly critical with their own work. Every time they're very critical about their own work, that they're never satisfied. And because they're never satisfied and because they always criticize their work, they're always pushing forward. And some of those creators that are saying that type of philosophy are in the millions of viewers, millions of followers. But damn, to look at your own videos and not like them, that sucks. To me, that sucks. I love watching my own videos. And this comes into the danger for some people in sounding like it's narcissistic and sounding like it's self-congratulatory. But what is wrong with enjoying your art? What is this concept that we have developed as a society that we have to hate our art in order to be a good artist? That's insanity, in my opinion. Insanity. Art is there for you, first and foremost. These videos, to be honest, for everyone watching, I'll be 100% honest with you, the number one audience is me. I want to make videos that I enjoy. And if I'm not making those videos, then I'm having a bad time. I'm not going to really make more videos in that regard. So for me, I'm making videos first for me. And then I know, because I know deep down inside, I know that the videos I make for me, the videos I enjoy, the videos I look at replay and can see over and over again and can listen to the sound of my own voice and enjoy it, to sound my own, to listen to how I speak or how I communicate, how I tell a story or how I edit. If I can look back and really enjoy what I did, more than whatever I can criticize, more than whatever I can, see that I can improve, then I know I'm successful. I know that I'm doing something good that will translate to people around the world. So Talvish, thank you so much for a $4.99 super chat. He says, Happy New Year. Can't wait to meet you in September when I come to New York. Talvish, thank you so much for the super chat. And Wayne, thank you so much for a $3 super chat as well. Yay. Perfectionism could be a curse. I get it. You want to make something perfect, but look a little bit deeper. Who is perfectionism for, ultimately? Look at all the perfectionists of history. Who were they as people? Be very honest. A lot of perfectionists are trying to reach some type of arbitrary level of success to impress themselves. They might say that they want the money. They might say that they want the huge, massive audience. But that perfectionist is obsessing over trying to impress themselves. And in that pursuit of obsession of trying to impress themselves, they are absorbed by negativity and by sense of failure. They're paralyzed by that fear of failure. And that's why they keep on tinkering, tiny little tinkers, over and over. That's why there's some filmmakers that take 20 years to make a movie. There's a great movie that shows this in action. It's called While We're Young. It takes place in New York City as well. So if you're a fan of New York City, check out While We're Young. And all this tiny tinkering over and over and over again. Since you're so obsessed with impressing yourself and saying that it's trying to get money or fame from other people, who gets left behind? Who gets left behind in the pursuit of perfectionism? The audience, the people, they get left behind. They get less movies. They get less books. They get less joyful books and joyful movies. They get less tours. They get less gardening. They get less architecture. Whatever it could be, they get less of it. The audience suffers in perfectionism. So that's why I don't look at my videos and think, look at the negatives only. I look at my videos and frankly, I focus on the positives. And that to some people might sound self-congratulatory, but to me it's joyful. It feels good. It feels nice. It feels great. And it feels like I'm enjoying myself. And why are we on this earth? Why are we making art? Why are we working? Why are we doing anything here in life? Is it to some cold pursuit of advancing humanity, of evolution? Then why are we conscious? Why are we thinking? Why are we feeling? If it's just some cold pursuit of evolution. It could be just by pure happenstance and randomness that there is some type of consciousness with us that we can think and that we can feel. Maybe it is pure randomness. Maybe. But if it is or it isn't it wonderful that we can feel? And if we can feel, why not feel good? Why not pursue the things that feel good? Why not focus on the things that feel good? Why not focus on the things that bring us joy? Doesn't mean that you ignore the hardships of life. Doesn't mean that you ignore people who are suffering. Doesn't mean that you ignore your own traumas and your own hardships. But it means that you don't get stuck in them. By not getting stuck in them, you can move forward. You can give more. Because if you get so stuck in your own negativity and your own fears, you're not giving. Your cup is so empty that you can't overflow the cup and give more. And thus, I get it. Some of these creators have millions of subscribers and they hate their work, or they are very critical of their work. But I would like to challenge to see how long they're going to last. Because I know many artists like that. And if they're making a lot of content very quickly, they're going to get burnt out. Because it's not sustainable to go in with that mindset of, oh, I don't like my work. No, oh, I did this bad, I did that bad, I gotta do better, I gotta do better, I gotta do better, I gotta do better. If you're doing that, then you end up getting burned out if you're making a lot of content. Or you become that type of artist that makes, as I mentioned, a movie every 10 years or so. Some of them do make a movie every 10 years and it's awesome, like James Cameron. So he's an exception to this rule. But you have like a filmmaker like Terrence Malick. He's a perfectionist, and I don't know, his movies don't feel joyful to me. So L says, how do you do in-person tours? The link is in the comments below. Urbanist.live/tours. You just reach out to me. As I mentioned I do charge much higher than other tour companies. So there's a lot of other tour companies out there. If you're on the budget, I charge higher. I charge higher because A, I'm not a tour guide. B, uh, I do tours so I can support the show and make it better. And C, you end up getting a urbanist experience in person. So if you love these videos and want to get the same type of experience conversationally touring around New York City, then you can do so. Urbanist.live/tours. And what is your business model, says SF Fields. I'm not the best person to ask for that. I'm not very a businessy person. I'm getting better. I'm getting more interested in it. Basically, to be transparent, Urbanist is a show and it's a brand. So as I said, to me the show is art. So I'm not so focused on making money from the show. I'm glad I do. So I'm very grateful for all the people who watch the videos and contribute, have super chats, give stars, patrons, support on Facebook, and also watch the ads whenever I post a video afterwards. That's so awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. That's a great way of supporting the show. But for me, the show itself is not focused about making money. So I don't, priority is not to make money with these videos. That's why I'm not making top 10 things to do in New York City for every tourist. There's some other channels who do that, and I respect them because they're making a different type of show. But that is not my prerogative. That said, I'm also building a very strong brand. And since this brand is getting stronger and stronger by the day, the business that I run is everything adjacent to the show. So merchandise, now online prints of my photography, and also tours and jobs I get hired for that are people who've seen my videos and want me to do a similar video for their company. And also with sponsorships. So like if you see a sponsored post like I did with the hotel, that's a sponsored post. So I'm doing a video about the hotel. But every other video, whatever other video like this one or the video yesterday, is completely the show I want to make. But there will be sponsored posts every so often because that's a way to monetize and run a business. So it's a hybrid. You know, I think as an artist, you have to be a little bit savvy with how you build your business, because obviously, you know, money still exists. You still have to kind of live. You have to pay rent. You have to pay for whatever materials you might need to make your art. For me, it's camera gear. You know, I recently bought a new piece of gear, which I'm excited to show all of you with recent videos coming out soon. I have to pay for data. I have to pay for flights. I have to pay for, etc. A bunch of things. So obviously I want to live, and obviously I want to thrive. I want to buy better clothes. I want to, you know, travel to more interesting places. I want to have a comfier bed. I want to live in a comfier place. I will want to do those things. So with that said, as an artist, I think it's very important to learn business, but not to get lost in the business, to not conflate making videos as business. For me and my sake, you know, if my videos are fully for business, then it'll be different videos. It'll be different type of videos. It won't have this kind of magic to them in the same way that you see my videos right now. So that's why I make the videos I do, and everything else is in addition to that. Would you consider having the sales agent of the hotel, Alexandra, back as a guest? Yeah, maybe one day. Yeah, we gotta figure out something interesting to do. Maybe a bar. She's from Texas, so maybe we can eat some barbecue together. Ariel's like a spirit twin to me. Oh, 4K, I'm so glad. No capitalism in his channel, says Luciano. So to be honest, everyone, I do make money from these videos. They are, I do want to live and thrive. So obviously, I try to make better art in order to bring more wealth. But that said, I draw a very strict line that I don't want to make at any point the videos 100% dependent on wealth. If they are, then the video starts suffering. So I better make money somewhere else, which I am, or I better start making a business model around the videos, not dependent on the videos, but around the videos, around the brand I've already built up. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Do you believe you're still finding yourself? Oh, that's a great question. I think you're continually always finding yourself. You're never not finding yourself. You're never done finding yourself. Obviously, someone earlier asked, do you believe in the afterlife or do you believe in reincarnation? If we are more than just this singular life for a momentary period of existence, then by the time you die, you already found yourself, in essence, right? You already lived your life and you're done. But if life is much larger than just this momentary existence that we experience called life, if it's much larger, if there was something before, and if there's something afterwards, or if there's something concurrent. Someone earlier asked about the multiverse, if there's something concurrent as well. Annie, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Then there's so much more to learn. Because obviously you're here and you don't know what came before, and you don't know what happens afterwards, and you don't know what might be happening simultaneously. Look at your own life, and have you ever felt that deep pit in your stomach whenever you encounter a weird person on the street, or like a business opportunity or something like that? You feel that deep pit in your stomach, right? That's that intuition. Or it's the opposite. You meet someone you really like and you feel kind of like that type, like that intuitively, that connection, that love. That's a very subtle layer of life that there is to explore. There's more to life there to explore. So do you ever truly find yourself? No, because at any moment you can be really surprised by the butterflies of someone you meet. I've felt those butterflies romantically, but I've also felt those butterflies platonically. I've met people who I didn't know. I just thought to myself, I gotta know this person. I don't know what it is, but this person, I just gotta know them. I feel like I know them already. And some of those people have continued on to become best friends in my own life. And some other people that I felt that with, nothing has happened. I've always wondered, was there something supposed to happen? Were we supposed to hang out together and know each other a little bit more? That's interesting. And if you pay attention to that and start kind of listening to those feelings and feeling those feelings and feeling deeper into those feelings, you end up seeing that the world is much larger than it seems. I'm blushing. Yeah, I am a little bit blushing. It's a bit hot as well. When I close the windows here in my room, it starts getting very dry. But the world is much larger than it seems. And if there's so much more to the world, then do you ever know yourself? And is it bad if you're never knowing yourself? No, it's awesome, because that means there's always something continuously to explore. And this is the illusion that you might get from, you might know people in your life that are so-called enlightened. There's people, you might encounter this. I know, especially if you live in a major city, or if you live in these kind of like other types of villages or towns that are more aligned with spirituality, like Sedona or Glastonbury. You might encounter these people who say they're enlightened and they already know everything that there is to know. That sucks for them. I guess that's game over. They already know everything. Um, I would be skeptical whenever I hear someone say that. Oh, I already know. I'm already aware of all. I would be skeptical. I would think uh, maybe the opposite. Maybe they know actually very little. Ariel, have you ever silenced your feelings because you were afraid of the afterwards? Elisa, great question. All the time. I I have lived life more where I've been more transparent in how I feel at the very moment in time, especially for making videos on live videos. This is not edited, so I realize if I continue to talk when I don't really want to talk, I'm gonna feel very drained after these videos. I'm gonna feel like so. And sometimes when I started Urbanist in the beginning, I used to get headaches after the live videos because I felt like I was just exerting so much energy. So luckily for me, live video has been a good teacher because I've learned you gotta be very transparent in how you feel, and if you're transparent in how you feel, you end up feeling better in the long term. You end up feeling better right now. So if I don't speak um, when I don't want to speak, then that's gonna make me feel good. If I feel like really talking a whole lot and just continually talking, get into a flow, and forever continue talking and talking a little bit more quicker and quicker and quicker, I'm gonna feel good. And for the past few months, especially making videos on YouTube and Facebook, I've been feeling, as opposed to when I started Urbanist, right now I'm starting to feel really good after these videos. Not all the time, because you never really ever know life forever. You never are perfect at everything you do. You never feel perfectly all the time. You never express yourself perfectly in whatever situation. We have a host of different uh, life experiences that have impacted us in a host of different ways where we might not want to express a small little feeling one way, or we are willing to express another feeling very openly. Um, and that's that. If you will put a map in your videos, Maxim, that would be great. Um, I don't put maps in my videos because I want people to kind of let loose of paying attention to where they're going. I myself have traveled before with my eyes stuck to my phone looking at Google Maps and trying to find how to get around and trying to find how to what's the place with the best reviews to eat. My eyes stuck in my phone, and I end up realizing I end up losing the wonderfulness of the spontaneity of life. That there's so much wonder and surprise that can happen if you really pay attention to the right here, right now. It's nice to know your direction, but I'm going to tell you right now, this show is not going to be that. Probably never on Urbanist. Maybe I'll do another show, or maybe I'll build a show and hire people to make a supplement show where there is maps and there is better wayfinding. But this show, no. I want to get lost. And I want you to join me in that feeling of lostness. Because when you're lost, you truly find yourself. and you truly find wondrous things. You see it here. I mean, if you watch my show long enough, even for a month or two, you'll notice some fun, wonderful things happen out of nowhere. Let me know. Let everyone know if you watch the show long enough. Let them know, anyone who might be new to the show, what happens when I've gone off the beaten path. Hey Ronald, what was the question Ronald asked? What surprised you the most last year? Um, Live streaming getting so popular. I knew live streaming would become popular some way or another, but the moment it really became popular, then it surprised me because I didn't I knew, but I didn't feel it. Like I didn't know. It's hard to express that feeling. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. When you know something's gonna happen, but when it happens, it just catches you by surprise. That's how I felt with live streaming. It just caught me by surprise, and I end up realizing, whoa, this is going to be huge. This is going to be gigantic. And people might say it's just because of the pandemic and everyone's at home, but I have a feeling people already got the taste for live video. And that taste ain't gonna go away anytime soon. It might change, it might shift, but it ain't gonna go away anytime soon. You should do a live feed from Hanoi. I would love to go to Hanoi. Oh yeah. I mean, watching Anthony Bourdain's episode on Hanoi, he did a few episodes on Hanoi. I was so inspired, and I wanted to try Vietnamese coffee culture. Vietnamese coffee sounds so interesting. I've binge watched trying to learn everything about Vietnamese coffee culture. I wanted to try a banh mi off a street corner, and I would love to sit in those tiny little chairs and drink beer. So it would be so cool to do live videos in Hanoi. 100%. Mo says, how does it feel to talk to words on the screen? Yes, people are behind the words, but don't you find it odd at first, says Mo. Oh, Mo, great question. That is the best question. So let me see. All right, so that is the great question. How does it feel to make a video where people, words are on the screen? And essentially, I'm doing it on my own, by myself. How does it feel to write on your own? Like, a writer is either on their laptop, a typewriter, or a notepad. They're writing on their own, How does a filmmaker feel when he's doing pre-production? Generally he's there, making storyboards made by himself or with a few other people. How does it feel for a painter to be painting in their studio? It's easy to think that making videos, and this might apply to people who make videos, it's easy to think that people making videos are doing it out of some type of need to be seen, out of some type of need to be loved or whatever, or to get fame. That might be the case with a whole lot of people. Same thing as there was a bunch of writers popping up in the 1920s and a bunch of painters as well. Same thing with there was a bunch of filmmakers popping up in the 1970s, and a bunch of musicians popping up in the 90s. There will always be a subset of people, and probably a very big subset of people, that are making content, whatever that might be seen. And hence, it is driven by this sense of loneliness, which will never be cured. Because no matter how much fame or love, or love within quotes, or recognition, or awards, or money that you end up getting, it will never cure your loneliness. That's why you have amazing artists that have unfortunately ended their lives, no matter how much fame they had. I think the story of Anthony Bourdain is a very good, important cautionary tale. So that said, I try not to get lost in kind of analyzing why I'm making videos by myself to a camera while I'm talking to myself in the street, essentially. To get lost in that is to get self-conscious. And the moment I'm self-conscious making a video, the video suffers. So people ask me, do you ever feel awkward that people are staring at you while I'm walking around doing the video? Yeah, it is awkward, but I know not to get self-conscious. Because the moment I start getting self-conscious from the funny looks, says Eugen, yeah, Eugen, I get it all the time. Some cities I get more than others. Depends on the area, but some cities I get more than others. I get those funny looks. If I start getting self-conscious with those funny looks, then the video will start suffering. You're gonna see that self-consciousness. Same thing with a painter. If a painter starts painting in their studio, they're all by themselves. They're painting in their studio. Let's say if it was Picasso, and Picasso starts finding himself very self-conscious because suddenly he realizes he's been painting for almost his entire life alone. He's been in a room with paint. And maybe a few rich people are buying those paintings. If he starts getting self-conscious at that very moment in time, then his paintings are going to suffer. So, in essence, art is weird. It's weird, right? It's weird to write endless hours in an office or in a room on your own. It's weird to paint in a room for hours on end. It's weird to spend $100 million and have employees of 600 plus people to make a movie about a superhero. These things are weird when you really look at them. And that said, don't get self-conscious if you're making them. Because it's weird, and that's fun. That's the part of the fun of making the art. It's the weirdness of the art itself. You know, if a major Hollywood director even has a moment of doubt that he realized, like Christopher Nolan even had one moment of doubt during the making of Tenet, saying this movie's weird, and a studio is paying me $300 million to make it. Goddamn. If he starts getting self-conscious, the movie's going to suffer. So, as an artist, an artist is like a pilot flying high in the air. You don't want a pilot who says, imagine you're flying high in the air across the Atlantic Ocean, and the pilot goes on the speakerphone and says, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta be honest with you. I'm feeling a little bit nervous today. This flight doesn't seem like it's gonna go too well, and I'm not sure if we'll make it. Imagine how would you feel? Let me know in the comments. How would you feel sitting in that airplane with the pilot being honest with you guys? Honest within quotes. Being honest. You're going to feel scared as hell. You do not want a pilot to tell you that he's feeling self-conscious and that he's worried that we're not going to make it. Same thing with the artist. Even though we're not handling life or death situations necessarily. We're not taking people across the air, or we're not making heart surgery. The same thing applies as an artist. If you start questioning and telling your audience, hey guys, I'm feeling a little bit nervous, I'm not sure we're gonna make it, I'm not sure it's gonna be a good video, then people don't feel they're the trust is broken. They feel scared. You are the pilot of people's minds and hearts when you're an artist. And being the pilot of people's minds and hearts for the set amount of time, may it be a 2-hour live stream, or a 6-hour walk, or a 2-hour movie, or 30-minute show, or a 10-minute online YouTube video, or a 30-second TikTok. Whatever it might be, you're the pilot of those people's minds and hearts. So they are putting your trust fully into you. A, that's a lot of responsibility. And B, you gotta be confident that you can take them through the entire trip. And Ashley says, fake it till you make it. Yeah, you can fake it till you make it. You can do that. Or you could do your best. Luckily, this is not life or death. So if I do get a little bit nervous in a live stream, that's okay. We'll all survive. I'll survive. You will survive as an audience. If I'm a tour, I get a little bit nervous, we'll all survive, but every type of job has their own level. But yeah, Mo, great question. I would say, yeah, it's weird. It's weird that I'm talking to a camera to myself, but I'm loving it. A lot of celebrities are fake, says Luciano. Oh, yeah, I can imagine. Okay, everyone. I gotta take a commercial break. You guys want a commercial break? I gotta take a commercial break, but I could easily keep on talking for more time. Are you down for a short commercial break? And I'll be back in a few seconds. Let me know. I could easily keep on talking for a little bit longer time. Let me know. All right, everyone. I'm going to take a commercial break. I'm going to show you a previous live stream. Keep on enjoying the video. I'll be back. Which live stream should I show you? Let's see. All right. I love the music that I'm listening to right now. Such great music. Okay, I'll give you a silent. There we go. Oh, it's taking time to load. Why is it taking time to load? Uh-oh. All right. There we go. All right, I'll be back. Oh, Times Square. People all around the world know this very location because they tune in on December 31st to see us ring in the new year. This is the location of the New Year's Eve celebration for more than 100 years. So hello, Felicity House. Today we're going to learn about the history of New Year's Eve here in Times Square as we walk around Times Square and head over to the building that is probably the most watched building in the entire world on that day, December 31st. I'm Ariel. I run the show called Urbanists, and let's walk around. So welcome everyone. We are here in Times Square, completely surrounded by advertisements. And this is where they have all the major celebrations, including the televised broadcasts, which you see with all the main bands and musical acts. Mariah Carey has been here many years in a row. Usually they're set up right around this area along the red steps. Now, up to 2 million people have crowded this square in order to see the ball drop. And this is one of the best perspectives to see the ball drop. So what is the ball? Right up there, you see 2020. They changed the title, the number every single year. And right above the number, we see the very beautiful glittering ball that looks like a disco ball. It's actually based on a history of telling time, especially right by commercial ports. Right underneath it, we have all these ads. It's right now a Kia commercial, a gigantic Kia commercial. But underneath it is one Times Square, and that is where our history takes place. We have to go back all the way to 1904. 1904, Times Square was empty. Well, definitely not surrounded by skyscrapers as it is today, and definitely not lit up. 1904, this was known as Long Acre Square. It was mostly filled with a lot of horse carriages, vendors, and also horse stables. Not the ideal place to host a New Year's Eve celebration, is it? Well, downtown Manhattan was growing very, very quickly. And right here is the wishing wall, and they have all... I am back. So that video, you can see it if you become a patron or a supporter, or soon a YouTube member. Stay tuned for that. I'm unveiling YouTube membership soon with special emojis that I am getting an artist to make. So yeah, you'll be able to see that video if you become a patron or a supporter. Because I release about 1 or 2 videos per week. I mean per month, sorry, per month for supporters and patrons, and soon YouTube members as well. So you could do it any of them that you would like, or you can do multiple if you would like. It's up to you. So welcome everyone back to your seats. Yeah, intermission is over. You know, I'm planning to like make a specific like intermission. I'm gonna make like a custom intermission. You know, like in the old times here in the US, they had like this like dancing popcorn and soda. We're going to the movies, and they used to have that as the intermission. So yeah, rosy cheeks. Yes, I'm pretty rosy. 4K, nice to see you here. Hello, Elisa. Thank you so much for watching, Elisa. Wendy says, "Oh, I was getting into that." Yeah, yeah. But these videos sometimes, not all of them, but some of them are released afterwards. They're released, well, maybe 1 month or 2 after they're released publicly. Wow. This is hot cider, yeah. Hot cider. They have intermissions here in the movie theaters. Yeah. Some areas of the world, they're forced to have intermissions. Let me know if you live in that area of the world. Cio Jovi says, I look like a filmmaker. Oh, thank you. I'm glad I have that look. You know, I used to get that a lot in college. I've been having this similar style in college. I actually used to wear a lot more plaid shirts in college than I do now. And often when I tell people I was an electrical engineering major, they'll be like, what? I always thought you were a film major. I always found that very kind of, I found it like a little compliment, which I liked. Some people might be offended by that, but I always found it as a compliment. Luciano says, I look like a lot of things. You have ponytail, says Elisa. I did indeed. Love all you guys that you do. Love all the vlogs that you do. Walking Commuter is a good one, and lovely Aya. Yes. There's so many amazing YouTube vloggers now. Walking vloggers now. Not just in New York City. There's people in London, there's one in Japan, there's like a few in Korea. Queen Mother asked, did I have dinner? No, not yet. I can't wait to have dinner soon. But let me know if you guys want to chat a little bit more. happy to chat as long as you want to, within reason. So, 4K. That's a great question. 4K, thank you so much for the super chats. You're very kind. 4K asks, would you rather fit in or stand out? It depends on the very moment. In life in general, I'd rather stand out. And everyone, answer this question as well. I'm curious to hear your answers. In life, I'd rather stand out. I've always been focused on standing out. I love being unique. um, as maybe some trolls might say, I love being a unique special snowflake. Uh, that's something a troll might say. But yeah, I love being unique. I love doing things uniquely. Of course, you're never truly ever unique, ever. But I think if you do things more from the heart, you end up standing out in an interesting way. Because you can be a successful filmmaker and be lost among all the other filmmakers because you're not really doing anything interesting. There's no you in the film. Same thing with writers, especially like in true crime writers or romance writers or young adult writers. Some of them, they're good enough, so they get successful, they have a job, but they don't stick out. And it's because, I think one factor might be that they're not really living, they're not following their heart. They're following more their mind, and they're just making that crime novel that will get the sales. It hits these plot points, we'll get the sales, make money. Well, then we'll make this crime show. Crime is often the very formulaic type of thing that happens here in the US at least. Or crime shows. Or movies, you make this action movie. Formulaic, you stick by the plot points, successful, you make money, okay. But you're not standing out. Following your heart, which is a bit abstract, but it's kind of following your intuition. If you don't know what intuition is, then then I'm really concerned. Please find your intuition. That's first key. But if you know what your intuition is, if you felt intuition at some point in your life, and many people at least have felt the negative version, which is that pit in your stomach when you feel that something is weird, something is going wrong, and you feel that pit in the stomach and you go. That's intuition. There's also the positive kind, as I mentioned. So if you follow intuition, especially the positive kind, where it feels something's good, this is going well, this is interesting, this is fun, this is fascinating, start following that path of intuition. I call it the path of the heart as well. You end up sticking out in interesting ways because it's hard to formulate in a mind level, in a very brain logical level, what will make you stick out. Do you think that George Lucas knew that Star Wars would stick out and make him billions of dollars? No. George Lucas made Star Wars because he wanted to make a kids movie that would make a few $1,000,000 and that he can get his company out of bankruptcy. That was the prerogative of George Lucas. And you hear this countless times in countless different stories. If you dig deep enough into any story of any great artist or any great person in history, it could be a scientist, it could be a gardener, it could be a landscape designer, it could be someone who ran the Department of Sanitation, it could be anything. If you read any great story, often artists have their stories written, especially great ones, because it's people find it more interesting for some reason. You end up seeing that they have intuitively found something that really sticks out for them. Something about their path comes from surprise, and they end up doing something unique. And that's interesting. However, to finish answering your question, 4K, in live streaming, I found it's important to fit in at moments. So when I do a live stream, sometimes I'm surrounded by so many people, or I'm like in a museum, and since I'm talking to a camera, it's bringing a lot of attention. Those are the moments where it pays off to fit in. That's why sometimes I usually don't talk when I enter a coffee shop or a restaurant, at the beginning at least, because I want to fit in. So I can make it easier for myself to go into this new place, to not draw too much attention to myself, so I can take all of you along with me via live video and make it interesting. And potentially have a random conversation with someone rather than going into the entire ordeal saying, hey, I'm making a YouTube video, I run Urbanist, I have so and so followers, and you don't have a chat. Rather than get too formal, I'd rather kind of fit in and have those spontaneous conversations. Of course, without pointing the camera to themselves, unless if they end up asking and it ends up happening, like it happened with Marquez, the security guard on Trinity Church a few weeks ago. That's where fitting in comes in handy, is learning how to fit in. For example, the Rockefeller Center, I end up, if you see my live stream about 2 weeks ago, I end up getting right to the tree at Rockefeller Center when no one was allowed to be there. There was only two security guards right there. So how did I do that? Well, I ended up doing a trick of the mind, which is feel invisible. Usually feeling invisible is a bad feeling. It's a shitty feeling. You don't usually want to feel invisible. At least most people don't want to feel invisible most of the time. But there are certain situations where feeling invisible comes in handy. And that came in handy when I did that Rockefeller Center tour where I snuck in to right by the tree. I just felt invisible. I just visualized myself invisible, and boom, no one noticed me, and I got to the tree. Michelle says, you're handsome, you embrace it very well. Thank you so much, Michelle. I'm eating a donut, says Tommy. Ooh, Tommy, cool. Which type of donut? I love how you're always being yourself in your live streams without caring about haters' comments. Luciano, I'm glad you enjoy it, yeah. I mean, it's always a continuously learning process, but I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm glad it comes out really well. As I mentioned earlier, don't allow myself to get too self-conscious. If you could spend a day with any person, famous or not, alive or dead, who would it be? Asked Aiden. Aiden, great question. Everyone, answer that question as well. Who would you spend, dead or alive, for one day? 100%, I would spend it with James Cameron, the director of Avatar and Titanic. If I can work with James Cameron for one day, or just chat with him casually as a friend, or just meeting with him, oh wow, that would be so cool. That would be so cool. James Cameron. Yeah, the reason he's not dead, he's alive. The Eugen. No, you could spend a day with anyone dead or alive. Yeah, James Cameron, because he's my favorite filmmaker. He's very inspirational for me, and I really look up to him and look up to also his way of doing what he does. He does his own thing. His movies, you might think his movies seem like other movies, but they're still pretty damn unique. There's not that many other Terminators out there. There's not that many other Avatars out there. Even though it's a little bit like Pocahontas and it's a little bit like Fern Gully, it's still something pretty damn unique. There's not that many Titanics out there. There's been Titanic movies. They don't come close to Titanic. He just does his own thing. Oh, Stephanie. I'm not sure what happened with Stephanie, but Stephanie says, oh, your mother. Oh, yeah. Cynthia, you would love to spend it with your mother. Yeah, that's awesome. Missy says my mother too. Justy says I would spend it with Just Me says I'll spend it with Frank Sinatra. Oh, that's not cool. That's cool. That's really cool. Aubrey says I have to take a computer break. That's cool, Aubrey. Thank you so much for saying bye. I appreciate it. Hey, Susu. I'm late to your chat getting ready for my Zoom meeting. No worries, Susu. Thank you so much for tuning in and saying hello. And let's see. I love your vibe. Ariel says, Diana, you have such a way about you, and people are drawn and love all your content. Oh, cool. I'm glad. Thank you so much, Diana. Thoughts about Tim Burton? I love him. I love his creative direction in movies. I just think his movies don't have too much feeling, but they're beautiful. I mean, Beetlejuice still sticks to me in this day. I love Tim Burton. Gigi, yeah, I agree with you, Gigi. I love Tim Burton. His movies still stick to me this day. Like, Beetlejuice is such a weird, interesting movie. Talk about following your heart. He just did the weirdest movie he could make with Beetlejuice. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, another fascinating movie, very different from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. He makes some fascinating movies. But I do feel like his movies don't have like hearts, or there's not that these like deep feelings. I feel the same way with like Christopher Nolan. Is he also makes very fascinating movies, amazing movies, but there's not heart in his movies. I don't feel warm watching his movies. I feel like I had an action ride, or like Tim Burton, I saw some weird stuff. Yeah. Yoli, thank you so much for the super chat. Yoli says, "Hope you had a wonderful and blessed New Year's Eve." Same to you, Yoli. Keep doing what you're doing. You are the realest of live streamers. I'm so glad I could be the realest of live streamers. I appreciate it. What's your favorite type of music? I listen to a lot of lo-fi hip-hop, which I'm listening to right now. Lo-fi hip-hop. Synth music, synth wave. I listen to a lot of indie music, especially if indie music has synths in it. Ooh, I love it. And classical music. And I'm recently really obsessed with Lisa Gerrard, who did the Gladiator soundtrack. She's the woman who sings in those songs from the movie Gladiator. And Enya, who did one of the songs in Lord of the Rings. That was featured in Lord of the Rings, I think at the end credits. And everyone, let's let's keep the good vibes in the comments. I guess some people might disagree on stuff, but I would encourage all of you to find something you can agree on. What do you agree on? Let me know right now, what's the thing that you do during the holidays that brings you the most joy? Enya is very mystic. Oh yeah, she is. Oh yeah, I feel very good vibes when I listen to Enya. Sister, am I planning a trip to Europe? Yep. We'd love to go to Europe, UK and Ireland for 3 months. And ideally, I would love to go even more Europe. Amsterdam, Rome once again. Like, I did Rome on Facebook, but I kind of want to redo those movies. I mean, those videos here on YouTube. And other cities in France. I would love to go to Karnak in France and see the megaliths over there and do a video on it. Istanbul. So I would love to go a bunch of places in Europe. Germany as well. I have friends in Germany. A friend who I collaborated with a few times, his name is Yusuf Onder. If you see my coffee shop or Jollibee video, you'll know who he is. He lives in Germany. I want to really visit him. And he's an architect. So I would love to actually feature his buildings. The VR video you did was spectacular. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed it, Queen Mother. During the holiday, I'm drawing and writing short stories, says CB. Oh, that's so cool, CB. Oh yeah, writing a short story. That's awesome. Let us know if you publish it or if you post it online somewhere. Creative ask, you might have mentioned it before, but I might have missed it. Did you go to college? Yes. I am an electrical engineering major, never studied history. And I'm not, I don't have a full time job in the 9 to 5 sense. I'm a filmmaker and online content creator, which is YouTube/Facebook. So I do those things, and the way I've learned history is through books. All these books over here. What books am I reading? I'm reading. Someone asked that earlier. I'm reading. What am I reading? I'm reading the History of Britain. That's one book I'm reading. I have like a stack of books right by my bed, so I'm reading a few books. Ariel, you like history, cuisine, and gastronomy? Yeah, yeah, of course. I often talk about the history of food. So Pat, if you watch my videos long enough, you'll end up learning a lot of history about food. Tova, do I have brothers and sisters? I have a brother. Missy, a glass of champagne and a plan to return to New York City. Oh, so glad. Need an Upper West Side vid. Yeah, I've done the Upper West Side a whole lot. A whole lot. But I'll be back. I might do a small little live stream inside the Museum of Natural History. Let me know if you want to see that. If you want to see a gorilla live. Because it's hard to get permission from these guys. These museums don't ever reach back. Lynn says, you don't strike me as an engineer. I've worked with many as an architect. You're too philosophical. That's why I never worked as an engineer. I know what you mean, though. I often did not have too many classmates where I can chat like this. Not that many. Many of the friends I had during the college years where I can have these chats. And there was one who was an engineer, but the other ones were in other studies, fields of study, like arts and political science and philosophy. Tova says you're blessed. Oh, so glad. I assume you as well. Do you enjoy wine tasting? Not so much. The reason is because wine makes me very red. I think I'm a little bit allergic to the tannins in wine. It makes me so, like, I get red naturally, but like when you drink wine, I just feel like hot. I don't like drinking too much red wine specifically. But if it's for a video, then hell yeah. You'll definitely see a wine tasting in a video. Or it's fun like with friends or on a date doing a wine tasting. That's fun. Then I like doing it. Beer tasting to me is a little bit more fun. What do you prefer, cats or dogs? I don't really like to keep pets because, as I mentioned, I like having the ability to kind of go anywhere at any moment's notice. But I would have a cat whenever I settle down to a permanent home. I would have a cat. Yeah. I don't know. I like the fact that cats are kind of just there all the time, and they do their own thing. You know, I'm much like that. I kind of like do my own thing, so I think a cat would you know, I think I'll vibe well with a cat. Oh yeah. A dog, you know, a dog will take a lot of paying attention to, and at the very moment in time, uh, I'm focusing way too much on video. Tova says, say hi to Dad for us. Oh, Tova's dad. Thank you so much for tuning in. How are you doing? Lynn says, yeah, a cat would fit you. You're a true Gemini, says Shirley. And Tova, oh wow, people are leaving big super chats today. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying the once a month philosophical chat. Mag says, thank you for this. Happy New Year's. To you too, Mags. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you always for leaving wonderful comments. I think pugs are one of my favorite dogs. Yeah, let me know. Are you guys a dog person or a cat person? I I what I do really appreciate. You're probably already noticing this in my videos. I'm really appreciating birds. I wouldn't have a bird pet, but the fact that there are birds flying is just mesmerizing to me. That there's creatures flying in the air at any given moment notice. There's creatures in the air. That blows my mind. And every time I see a bird, it's like a new different bird, I'm like, wow, so cool. It's like the coolest type of creature. Wendy says, oh, Bob, yesterday. Indeed. We'll meet Bob again. Yeah, I wouldn't have a bird pet. So Yoli says, no birds, please. My mom had a bird and it was a terrible mess. Yeah. My grandmother at some point had a bird and I remember, yeah, it was such a mess. No. I actually had a bird when I was little, but for a very short while it flew away. Oh my God, I had a bird when I was a little kid. I just remember now. It was like a green bird. And I was so excited for it, but it kept chirping all night long. I think I was very young. I think I was like maybe 4 or 5 years old. It kept chirping all night long. And then one day it just flew away. We only had it for like 1 or 2 weeks. Wow. It wasn't a parrot. It was like it was one of those I think it was a lovebird, maybe, Mandy. Yeah, it was a green bird with like a yellowish beak. Might have some kind of red highlights. I think it might have been a lovebird or a parakeet, maybe. The only cat I've experienced was I dated a girl in my early 20s who had a cat, and whenever I would stay over, the cat would sleep on my chest, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. It was funny because this particular woman that I was dating, she did not actually like cuddling. So when I would stay over, we wouldn't cuddle. And everything else was fun, but we wouldn't cuddle. And the cat at night would just kind of just sleep on my chest and just stay there all night. It was so nice. Eugen says you had chest issues. I mean, sometimes cats, I assume, are good at figuring out what is wrong, but I think I'm doing pretty well now. Freedom, hello. Daniela says a substitute for the night. My cat loves to sleep on my chest, says Caroline. Yeah. Cats can also be wicked creatures. Yeah. I'm not sure how you can have a cuddly cat. What is, for anyone who has a cat, what is the secret? How do you get a cat that is cuddly? Oh, Elisa says, what did the girl didn't like? The cuddle or the cat? No, the girl owned the cat. She didn't like to cuddle. With anyone. Just in general. Just in general did not like cuddling. And yet had a very cuddly cat. So, sometimes things are very ironic in life. People are strange. Lynn, cat will love you on their terms. Yeah, right. Let that cat come to you, right. Lost in the Curve says, it's a luck of the draw. You never know if the cat is cuddly or not. Tack says, would you switch to online creation? What was bad about engineering? Oh, why did I switch to online creation? I actually never really wanted to study engineering. I love science, but more on a theoretical level. And I studied engineering for 2 reasons. A, I thought it was going to be a safe career. So I didn't really have full confidence that making videos or being a filmmaker or being a freelancer was going to pan out. I was afraid that that wasn't going to happen. So I wanted a safety net, and that's why I studied engineering. The second reason is that deep down inside, I've always wanted to be a filmmaker. I knew that since the age of 5 years old, but I decided to follow the path of James Cameron, which I mentioned before. He's the director of Titanic, Terminator, and Avatar. And he also studied engineering and physics in order to have a safety net. But he dropped out, I think, after a year, a few months. His brother's actually an engineer. He dropped out after a few months, became a truck driver, but he got obsessed with the tech of film. And hi, Irene, nice to see you here. Hope you had a wonderful New Year's. So I thought to myself, A, it's awesome safety net because engineers make a lot of money. I already like some science. I already like some type of math. And then B, James Cameron did it. So maybe that could work for me as well. I become an engineer and then I get into film. Lo and behold, I graduated with engineering and end up realizing I don't even want to work in this field. So I couldn't find an engineering job here in New York City at all. And I'm actually very grateful for that. So I end up working as tech support or community manager. I was kind of both in Foursquare, which is like a Yelp-like company. Foursquare is like Yelp. And I loved it. I loved working in that atmosphere. And you know what? A lot of my classmates actually, a good portion of them didn't actually go into engineering either. A lot of them went into finance area. So they end up working with like Goldman Sachs and like Chase Bank and stuff like that. Because they were able to use their mathematical know-how for it. So electrical engineering jobs are actually few and far between here in New York City. And I'm actually very lucky that that was the case. So I ended up going to tech. And tech, you know, it's fun. People are much younger in tech. And it's more vibrant atmosphere. You don't need to dress up. My first day, I dressed up like in a button-up shirt, white button-up shirt, and tucked into my trousers, to my suit pants. And I was overdressed. People were there wearing shorts and wearing t-shirts. Like my CEO at Foursquare was wearing a t-shirt all the time. So when I started working for tech, I was like, oh yeah, this is fun. This is fun. And then I went to media. And media, I work with Gawker Media. It's already defunct. Crazy story. If you ever seen The Social Network, I basically experienced that in real life. And I love working for the media world because I love media. So I love making videos. I didn't work for making videos, but I was close to them. I was close to people making videos and making and writing. So it was awesome world to be in. And people there are also kind of, you know, very artistic in their own right. And I enjoyed that company. Yeah. I'll give you one anecdote. Do you guys want to hear one anecdote of my first company party at Gawker Media? It's already a defunct company, so I really don't care about divulging this. Let me know. We're already 2 hours deep into this video, so whoever got bored of this video will probably not be watching this segment. So maybe I could tell you a tiny little story that shows you what working at Gawker really was. Is following your dream better than Happy New Year's, Darlene. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for a $5 super chat, Darlene. I appreciate you. Nathan, I love working in tech. Oh, cool, Nathan. Then I face my fears on being on stage. Yes, yes. You went to theater. That's awesome. Do let me know if you ever perform something in New York City. Okay. So, as I mentioned, in tech, I mean, in tech is also very loose, and the media world was as well. And I was very excited working for Gawker, But you know, you have these conceptions. I had this conception of the media world being kind of, serious journalism. Even though I didn't care to be a serious journalist, I never really cared for journalism. I appreciate them. I respect journalists. I didn't care for journalism to be myself. So I was a little bit worried that Gawker was going to be like that. A lot of people, kind of straight-laced, finding the real stories. And then the first company party is like 2 weeks in, and there's beer. The fridge, each floor was stocked to the brim with a fridge filled with beer. So everyone was drinking beer. And I thought, oh wow, this is really cool. I experienced this in tech, but it was less beer. They would have like beer, like a keg or two of beer from some local brewer, and we would drink that. But here they just had all the beer, and for free. You didn't have to pay for any of this. So I was like, oh yeah, this is a fun company. We're already drinking beer in the office. It's already like 6 p.m. First party in the office, and then the night continues. And then I see one of the conference rooms, and there's a bunch of conference rooms on my floor, and a bunch of people, there's a few people drinking beers in a few of the conference rooms. Another conference room, someone's playing like games. And in these companies here in New York City, there's like huge whiteboards. So you can draw basically on the walls. And so people were playing games in one conference room. But there was one conference room that was all smoky. The door was closed. I was like, what's happening in there? And earlier in the night, one of my friends asked me if I wanted to smoke. Smoke, not tobacco, smoke the green stuff. And I said no, because I thought it would not be appropriate in a company context. But I did not know the media world. I did not know the New York City media world. So I go into this. My friend invites me again, say, "Hey, come in." I go into the conference room. It's all smoky inside, and I thought going in there it was going to be like my coworkers. But no, it was my manager, one of the editors in chief, and one of the chief executives. I won't say exactly who it was, but it was one of the C-level executives, all smoking up inside a conference room. And here in the US, it's called hotboxing. So they keep all the windows closed so the smoke would stay and you get even more high. So I was like, okay, my second week in Gawker, I'm already smoking up with the C-level executive and the editor-in-chief. This is a company. And to me, that was like, wow, everything I thought about work was wrong. Especially in New York City. Like, companies are very, there's such a wide variety of companies. And it was basically like a Mad Men episode, says Michelle. Yeah, it was almost like a Mad Men episode. And there's no really moral to this story, just to say that, that's why I love working for media. There was this energy, there was this looseness. People weren't taking their job too seriously, and unfortunately, that in Gawker's case, it did lead to it being sued to hell and it doing some questionable things. Luckily, I personally, I wasn't directly responsible in any of those questionable stories that they would publish. But I did appreciate that a company could run and be pretty loose. And that was influential for me as someone who just wanted to, be creative and thrive. I realized that thriving in any context does not require you to be stuck up and straight and serious all the time. It's okay, I get it. Some jobs you do have to be serious, but not all of them. Irene says, are all companies this way? Gawker was quite of an exception. Gawker was crazy. Gawker, as I mentioned before, if you've seen The Social Network, I experienced that first person. Like I saw, like the Social Network movie unfolding in person. So it was a crazy time working for Gawker, but Gawker was not the only company like that. They were a little bit more exceptional. They were on more of the extreme. But there was a few other companies that are pretty loose. Like I mentioned with Foursquare, people would be in T-shirts and they would buy kegs of beer to celebrate every Friday night. So it would just be very casual atmosphere. And yet work was being done, and yet these companies were worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Foursquare is still running, for example. Is Europe drinking at lunch is normal? Yeah, right. And, Europe is normal. Here in the U.S., not so normal. So it was exceptional for me to see beer in the office, because here in the U.S. it's not normal to really drink during the daytime, and it's not really normal to have in the office space, at least traditionally so. So there we go, everyone. You got a little bit of experience on the media world here in New York City. Let me know what's your company culture over there where you're watching from. Work hard, party hard. Eugen, yes, that definitely was the motto for tech companies and for media companies. Work hard, play hard. Definitely was the motto. And guys, I told you one story. They get a little bit more more interesting. Let's say that. But that I can't tell you on live video. And things I've heard, I really can't tell you that on live video. The things I've heard that I did not experience firsthand. Steve Jobs was a hippie. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. He did not like. I also think Steve Jobs, from what I've read, he did not like people wearing suits in his office. Gawker got body slammed by Terry. Yeah, he got body slammed by. Yeah. Gawker got sued to hell by Hulk Hogan. What's your favorite philosopher? Says Roberto. I call these philosophical chats because they're not necessarily spiritual, even though I might talk about spiritual things, and I do write about spiritual things on my writings. But I don't like calling things spiritual because it kind of turns people off, unfortunately. And I want to have a conversation that's a little bit more looser than that. I don't want to have a conversation that is too stuck in trying to be spiritual and trying to know the mysteries of life, or having a conversation that's too kind of Q&A, just a regular Q&A. Let's have a regular, normal Q&A, ladies and gentlemen. Ask me where I'm from. I don't want to do that either, so I call it a philosophical chat. That's why I call it philosophical chat, because to me it's philosophizing. It's not talking nonsense, but talking a little bit, looking beyond the box, having a conversation a little bit more beyond the box, beyond our comfort zone, but still maintaining a sense of logic and consistency and empathy, which could get really easily derailed for so-called spiritual conversations. And people, anyone who's repeating questions, please don't repeat questions. I get that you want your questions answered, but I would encourage you to listen rather than ask. It's awesome that you ask, and and especially if you ask one or two times, the chat will be much easier for me to scroll back and potentially even answer your question. But in these type of conversations, especially we're taking our sweet time, we're enjoying all this, um, all questions will eventually be answered. All questions will eventually be answered. Rest assured, sometimes you gotta trust in conversation. I'm saying you, I don't mean to be so prescriptive, but I've learned that, especially as being an interviewer, I've had so many people on my live videos, and I've done a documentary, and I've done vlogs where I have people as a guest, and I've interviewed people. I've learned in the art of interviewing that sometimes you'll get the answers you want, but not always by exactly asking that question. You'll get it in conversation. Through the conversation, it will come out. And sometimes an even better answer to your question, or even an answer that you didn't think you wanted, but an answer that you really needed. So trust in the arts of conversation, I would recommend, at least for my videos. That I would say that would be a good way to enjoy them. Ronald, do I like Godfather movies? Not so much. This would be very blasphemous to a lot of people, but not so much. I always fall asleep when I try to watch The Godfather Part 1. So I never bothered with 2 and 3. But I always fall asleep with Godfather Part 1. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get why people really love that movie. I see the artistry behind it, but I don't know. I'm also a little bit tired of movies about gangsters and violence that are so serious. So my favorite movie recently was The Gentleman, directed by Guy Ritchie, and starring I always forget this guy's name, Charlie Hunnam. Charlie Hunnam wearing a cardigan very similar to mine, and glasses very similar to mine, and facial hair. So that guy, he had a similar style to me, and he was playing a gangster in the film, English gangster. So that movie I really loved because yes, it was about gangsters, but it was funny. It was fun. But these serious movies that are art, real art, real cinema, all serious, real emotions. I get it. They're good movies, but why so serious? I want to have a little bit of fun sometimes. And I don't know, just Godfather does not strike me to be that fun of a movie. There's some movies that are serious that envelop me so much more strongly, like The Fountain. Check out The Fountain by Darren Aronofsky. One of my favorite films of all time. Or Call Me By Your Name. Call Me By Your Name is a little bit looser, so it's not too serious, but that's another great movie. I cannot watch violent movies, says Cynthia. Yeah, especially when violence is glorified or dramatized. I like superhero movies, but sometimes violence is overly glorified. What's your favorite type of genre of music? Ooh, you gotta go in the beginning of this video too, Lauren. Ronaldo, one of my thoughts on the heist movie. Oh, I'm so tempted to make a heist movie. I would love to write a heist movie. I actually have a very good idea for a heist movie. So, do you guys want me to tell you the general premise of this heist movie? Let me know. I don't care. People say don't say your ideas because people can steal it. All right. It happens. No idea is really ever original. So people always concurrently come up with the same ideas. Tom says, let's rob the mint. What does that mean? Is that a saying in the UK? So there's a fascinating actor, Christopher Lee. Okay, everyone. So people want to learn about the heist movie idea. Or maybe I could write a short book on it instead. Who knows? Or maybe a screenplay. So Christopher Lee is the actor who plays Saruman, if I am pronouncing it correctly, in Lord of the Rings. He's a very famous actor. He was Dracula, I think. A very famous actor. And Christopher Lee has said multiple times in interviews that he has a huge collection of occult books, rare occult books, and artifacts, which is interesting. Occult, if you don't know what it is deals with magic, it deals with spirituality, it deals with law of attraction, it can deal with rituals, it can deal with everything, right? Occult ranges from the mundane, the harmless type of occult activities. You know, even the power of positive thinking was known as it was inspired directly from occult teachings. Norman Vincent Peale was basically following the teachings of Christian Science sect of basically who were talking about positive thinking in very kind of secretive ways. So that is known as the occult, and it could go to things that are much darker, unfortunately, like Aleister Crowley, if you know who that guy is. That guy scares the S out of me. So he has this huge collection of occult materials and occult books, and I wondered, like, wouldn't it be cool to have a movie where some famous actor, like a Christopher Lee, a thespian, has this huge, extensive occult collection, but he has a very secret artifact that's very powerful, that is hidden inside a secret vault in his huge, gigantic Hollywood mansion. And a group of people want to rob this occult actor, to rob this item, whatever it is, but they end up running into this guy doing a ritual, and shit ends up going down. Everything goes wrong. And it's not a horror movie. It's more like a action comedy. But it's like Ghostbusters meets Ocean's 11. That's my general premise for a cult heist movie. Like, what if you mix magic with a heist film? You need Kevin James in that. I would not have Kevin James in that, but I envision the main character being Seth Rogen, but very buff. Like Seth Rogen worked out a whole lot. Similar to like Chris Pratt doing Guardians of the Galaxy. Can I rob a train in it? Says Tom. Maybe there'll be a train robbery in it. That sounds actually like a good idea. Todd says, sounds like what your life. Ooh, Todd, interesting. Must live a very interesting life. If you had to store money, what would you use it to keep it fresh? Ooh, I don't know, Mimi. I'm not a good channel for that. I don't store money. Or maybe I do. Who knows? Ariel, I left you some tips for visiting the UK. Oh, thank you so much, Aiden. So when can we order the audiobook? It reminds me of the Dresden Files. Yeah, you're right. It is a bit like the Dresden Files. Or like Torchwood, the Doctor Who spinoff. Yeah, maybe soon. What type of film would you make? That type of heist film, I would make, as I mentioned, a unique Marvel superhero, which you gotta find out in the beginning of this video, find out who I mentioned, and Doctor Strange. Get a snack, Shield says, and make some coffee or hot cocoa. And share it while live chatting. I can't drink coffee at this moment. I don't have any quick snacks. I'm gonna go straight to eating dinner after this. But I gotta cook it. Do you feel the need to reflect on life? Where is your choice to do so? Asks Ab. Great question, Ab. I'm continuously reflecting on life. So I find it very important to breathe through any feeling, negative or very good feeling that you're having, especially if it's negative. Breathe through it. Excuse me. So often we forget to breathe. And it's important to breathe through those negative feelings, because if you pay attention to those negative feelings at the very moment they happen, you end up seeing that they're not so scary. And thank you so much for watching, Rebecca. Appreciate you. They're not so scary, those negative feelings. And Amanda, I don't answer any questions regarding to living or where I live or anything else regarding that matter, or any other very personal questions. But feel free to ask me any other questions. Yeah. If you end up realizing those negative feelings are not so scary. So in a way, that's a very momentary way of reflecting. And it's a very easy way of reflecting. It's not mind-centered, because you can kind of get lost in analyzing yourself, or talking to a mental health professional, where you're kind of talking through things, which is totally a valid way of bettering yourself. But what I found to be a very effective way is to breathe, to not think about it, but to just breathe in it, pay attention to the feeling. Because as I mentioned, that feeling ends up looking a lot less scarier. And then next time you feel it, you recognize, oh, that's the feeling. Now, since you already recognize it, now that you're aware of it, you can choose to ignore it. Choose to move on from it. It's like the coronavirus that we're experiencing right now. A lot of us are wearing masks in public places, public indoor places, to avoid a virus. A year ago, many of the world wasn't wearing a mask to avoid viruses. People got the flu, people got the cold, but they weren't aware fully that a mask will prevent transmitting the flu or the cold and getting the flu or the cold. So we weren't aware of it, and thus we just got the flu, right? We just got the flu. And you would get the flu and you would say, I just got it. But now, since we have a much more serious disease out there, we end up being much more aware of that disease, and we wear a mask, or we avoid indoor places, or whatever you end up doing. So the point is, you have that awareness of that thing. And now, since you now have that awareness of that thing, next time you come across that situation, then you end up knowing it's there, and you know how to handle it. Coronavirus cases, wear a mask indoors for many cases. Or wash your hands if you're encountering, a much more worse disease. There's some terrible diseases out there where it is very imperative that you wash your hands. So, same thing with feelings. You start being aware of the feeling, and then you can see the feeling, feel the feeling, and the next time you feel it, like, it's there. Now I can breathe it out and continue on with my day. Of course, it's easier said than done, but all things are easier said than done. Thank you so much for watching, Stephanie. I appreciate you. That's a good point. A therapist gives you tools. Yeah, a therapist, of course, gives you tools. But yeah, you guys, there's for me, I found that there's not one way of living life, or one way of bettering your life, or one way of thriving, or one way of learning. There's so many plethora of ways. You know, someone who might want to make videos about history might think to themselves, you know, I never studied history, so I can't make them. There's not one way to make videos about history. You can learn stuff on the internet. You can go to the library. You can instead not research yourself. You can invite a guest and have them be the expert. You can do a bunch of things. You're not limited to one path of life, one path of learning. And Cynthia says, no, only good therapists could give you tools. Yeah, right. Right. I mean, yeah, of course. With all things in life, you have to trust in the good professionals. Roland says, your videos and live chats have been a good therapy through my recent rough moments. Oh, I'm glad it offers some good vibes. Who's your favorite artist? Frederick Edwin Church is my favorite artist. He has painted some amazing paintings, landscapes of South America. Hokusai is also one of my favorite artists as well, from Japan. Beautiful paintings. He's known for the Great Wave off Kamagawa, which is the painting with the huge waves. It's also the emoji of the waves. So I love those two artists. I also love Rothko. There's something about Rothko paintings. I see a Rothko painting in any museum, maybe the Whitney or the Tate, and I'm just mesmerized. Something about Rothko is so captivating. It's beyond words with Rothko. I can explain why I like Frederick Edwin Church, because he has pretty sceneries and he always has like tiny little people in the corner. There's the sun and the way the light hits the leaves. I can explain why I like Frederick Edwin Church, but Rothko is beyond words. He is amazing. So highly recommend checking out Rothko. If you're in London, go to the Tate and see Rothko. He has these really interesting paintings. They're like red and black. It doesn't sound too interesting, but go there and just contemplate them. Rothko uses Urbanist Orange. Does he have an Urbanist Orange painting? Ooh, that's interesting, Christine. Can you put those names on Facebook? Oh yeah, Teresa, we'll do. Or if anyone could write them right now on Facebook. Frederick Edwin Church, Rothko, and Hokusai. Someone asked for movie recommendations. Queen Mother, what do I like about Frida Kahlo? My aunt is actually one of the leading experts of Frida Kahlo in Latin America. So I've been gifting her Frida Kahlo memorabilia for many years, and she's written a book on Frida Kahlo as well, and her ties to the revolution. So yeah, I appreciate Frida Kahlo. I appreciate her. Her paintings are, they're heavy. So I wouldn't like hang a painting of hers in my room because they're raw. They're it's like watching. Aiden, thank you so much for watching. It's like watching a sad movie. It's like watching the ending of Titanic over and over again. Like that's my relationship with Frida Kahlo. I love her paintings, but I wouldn't hang it up. I wouldn't hang it up in my room. If you like Rothko, maybe try Paul Lee. Oh, interesting. I'll check it out. So movie recommendations. A few people asked for that. Call Me by Your Name is my #1 movie of all time right now. That's my #1 favorite movie of all time. Call Me by Your Name. The movie is great because it's a romance movie unlike anything else. And I'm not talking about the sexual orientation of the characters. I'm talking about how the romance is depicted, regardless of who the characters are. The way the romance is depicted, stick to the end, because that end, to me, felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. in a beautiful way. It's a great movie and great book as well. So Call Me by Your Name is number one. Get out your notepad. So I'm gonna give you 5 movies. So that's number one. Number two is The Fountain. The Fountain, directed by Darren Aronofsky. And a lot of people ask me who's my filmmaking inspiration. And you might even see Darren Aronofsky's influences in my live videos because I tend to do some similar shots to him. So Darren Aronofsky, amazing filmmaker, love him. He did The Fountain. That's my favorite movie of his. And The Fountain is captivating because it's a film about death. And it sounds very depressing, but it helped me so much with confronting death as a concept. And I'm so grateful I saw it. And I've seen it many times because the movie itself is so dense. It has 3 different types of stories told at the same time, played by the same actors in each of those different stories. And the movie depicts the Spanish conquistadors invading the Aztecs, which is very rarely depicted in cinema. You don't see too much like ancient Aztec / Spanish conquistador movies out there, which is a shame. It would make such an excellent type of movie. There's also Apocalypto by Mel Gibson, but there's very few movies about that. It's such a great, very interesting moment in history. So The Fountain, I would recommend it. Number 3 is also by Darren Aronofsky, and I recommend Noah by Darren Aronofsky. Now, this is a movie adaptation of the legend, the myth of Noah's Ark. And maybe one day, well, I've already done a few videos, maybe you'll learn that maybe Noah's Ark wasn't completely myth. But that's for another video. So Noah is great because it takes this kind of ancient Bible imagery, mythology, lore, whatever you want to call it. It takes this ancient Bible imagery and brings it into film. And it's so wonderful to see these kind of more weirder stories of the Bible be depicted on cinema. It just blows me away, and it has brought in my interest in learning more about the Bible and about religion in general. So Noah's not really a preachy religious movie, so it's actually quite the opposite. It's not really preachy or religious at all. It depicts a story from a religious text, but it's not preachy. So highly recommend that movie. And then and the way they depict the Great Flood as well, it's just so epic. It's so epic. Watch Noah on a super rainy day. It'll add to the experience. Trust me. And then I already said 3 movies. So Teresa, yeah, Noah. 2 more movies. Watch Soul, Pixar's Soul, which I already recommended a few times. Pixar's Soul just came out on Disney Plus. And pro tip, you can get a free trial on Disney Plus. There's a bunch of links, most of the time at least, of free trials for these places where they won't charge you until 30 days after. So technically you can watch the movie for free, and I do that a whole lot with other services. So pro tip, Soul. And basically a lot of the topics I've talked about in this video, or if you read any of my writings outside of Urbanist, Soul tackles that. So Bernard says, oh my god, Soul. Oh, so glad you enjoyed it. So good, all the feelings. Yeah, all the feelings. And also the soundtrack. After watching Soul, I finally wrote the first scene of my upcoming novel, which is called Love in the Multiverse. And seeing that movie filled me with so much inspiration. I just got straight to writing. So that is number 4. Number 5. Someone mentioned about Marvel movies. I love Marvel movies. You might be asking me that. You might have not seen enough of my videos yet because I very often mention Marvel. I would recommend watching, if you watch any of the Marvel movies, for me, the funnest Marvel movie is Doctor Strange. It's a movie that shows you New York, but also goes into the Far East. And you can get into the complicatedness of how they depicted the Far East. I get it. There's some cultural sensitivities there. But the movie just kind of, to me, Doctor Strange is the Marvel movie that gets the closest to this kind of classic adventure movie. And there's not that many classic adventure movies. What is an adventure movie? Adventure movie is not quite an action movie. An adventure movie shows you an adventure. And usually they go to very exotic locations from our point of view, especially as Western audiences. So to me, my two favorite adventure movies is The Mummy from 1999, one of my favorite movies of all time as well, and King Kong by Peter Jackson that came out like in 2003, 2004. Those two movies, great adventure movies, because it's not just action, it takes you on an adventure. It goes to far exotic places and has weird creatures and all these things. I think Doctor Strange is the closest of the Marvel movies to an adventure movie. And I would love to be the one to make a true adventure movie in the Marvel universe. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed those recommendations. My life depicts Joy Luck Club. Oh, I can't. I gotta see Joy Luck Club. Shields, that's so awesome. You know, I've been meaning to see Joy Luck Club. I really loved Crazy Rich Asians, which gave me an interest in seeing more Asian American cinema. There's unfortunately very few, which is such a shame because it's such a. I have a soft spot for movies that depict Chinatowns. There's another movie called Chinese Puzzle, and there's a few other movies that depict Chinatowns. Premium Rush also depicts Chinatown. I have a big soft spot for movies that depict Chinese American characters and Chinatowns, because to me that feels like real New York. To me that feels like my America. When I see a Chinatown on film, I feel like that's my America. I did not grow up with a white picket fence and a dog with a brother and her sister in a nuclear family. Like that wasn't my upbringing in the suburbs. That wasn't my upbringing. My upbringing was Chinatown. My upbringing was being in New York City. Basically everyone I knew was Indian, Chinese American, South American, etc. That's my New York. So I have a soft spot for Chinese American characters or movies made by Chinese Americans. So I can't wait to see Joy Luck Club. I can't wait to see it. Thank you for the recommendation. Have you seen Stanley Kubrick's The Killing? No, I haven't seen it yet. Is it good? Let me know. I've seen a lot of Stanley's movies, but I haven't seen all of them. Plus, I do have a brother. Yeah, I do. But I wasn't raised with him. Half brother. Do you like sci-fi? Sci-fi? Yeah, I do. Parasite is amazing. I love Parasite. Great movie. Chat with you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching, Adam. Okay, everyone. I'm sticking around about 10 minutes. So feel free to ask any last remaining questions. Let me know if you enjoyed this chat. I do these chats once a month. Every first Friday of the month. The first Friday happened to be New Year's Day. First Friday of every month, I do these chats. So if you want to see more of these chats, well, you could just continue following Urbanist along with seeing the history and the culture videos. But if you are curious to potentially see more of these chats, you can follow my personal Instagram at the Ariel Vieira, or you can follow my personal Facebook if you're watching on Facebook. I don't accept friends requests on Facebook, and on Instagram I might not respond to messages. But if you like these chats, you might see me live, or I do write fairly often about these topics. So I'll ask for these final 10 minutes, I'll answer any last remaining questions. Which documentaries do you recommend? Great question. Wow. What's the documentary I really enjoyed? Wild Wild Country on Netflix. I'll give you one recommendation, that one. Wild Wild Country on Netflix. Highly recommend it. Excuse me. It will blow your mind. The documentary feels like a action movie. It feels like a thriller. And it's split into 6 episodes. It is the most thrilling documentary I've ever seen in my life. It's actually a story I really wanted to do a live video on, and they end up making a documentary on it. Hey, Kay, do you mind if I share some good news? Yes, Kay, do share some good news. Let us know. Do you write blogs? Yes, on Instagram. You can write, you can read. They're the captions on my videos. Someone asked me about storytelling tips. So I do write on a little bit of rarer occasion. I do write blogs about live video and how to make content. So go to medium.com/@Ariel Vieira. If anyone could put that comment down, link down. Medium.com/@ the @ symbol @Ariel Vieira. And there you can read my articles on storytelling. I have one article on how to tell better stories, and I have a few about live video. David Attenborough documentaries are good. Yeah. Wild Wild Country. Wild Wild Country. Did I go to college? Yes. Electrical Engineering, City College of New York. I love anything by Ken Burns. Yeah, New York by Rick Burns, which is the brother of Ken Burns, is really good as well. New York by Rick Burns. Do I like ramen? I do. I haven't shown that much ramen on live video. Do you guys want me to stop into a ramen shop? It is cold, so it might be perfect to eat ramen outdoors. Let me know if you want me to stop in the ramen shop in one of my future wanderings. Especially luck because you're giving a realistic conversation. I'm so glad. Any favorite graphic novel? My favorite graphic novel of all time is Watchmen by Alan Moore. My most life-changing graphic novel of all time is Promethea by Alan Moore. That graphic novel, no exaggeration, changed my life and showed me a glimpse of the secrets of the universe. It did. So, bold words might not have the same effect on you, or it might have the same effect on you. Who knows? Is it any healthy ramen? I would say yes, because it's basically soup. It's soup, or pho. So pho is the Vietnamese version of ramen. Yeah, it's basically soup. So yeah, it's probably very healthy for you. Probably has a lot of good nutritional value. Favorite self-help book? Great question. A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle is a great self-help book. But if you want to read something a little bit more kind of easier to read, it depends on your level of... I don't mean to make this sound like everyone's at different levels. Everyone learns differently. Everyone is consuming books differently. Eckhart Tolle... You gotta know if you already read self-help, then you'll enjoy Eckhart Tolle. But if you don't read self-help already, do check out The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. The Alchemist. It's not a self-help book per se, but it's a great fictional book, very easy read that talks about a lot of concepts of personal development. I do use Trader Joe's, Mario. Yes, Trader Joe's. Favorite Trader Joe's item? I don't buy too many items from Trader Joe's. I don't buy too much packaged foods. So I buy a lot of avocados, and like plantains. I don't buy plantains at Trader Joe's. I buy bananas. But packaged, I like their Reese's peanut butter cups. Their version of the peanut butter cups. I love all these questions. Let me see if I missed any. Have you seen Octopus Teacher yet? No, not yet. Can't wait to see it. Have you ever been to the National Storytelling Festival? No, I've never done storytelling formally on stage. Never done it. To me, it's easier making a video to thousands of people than it is to be on stage telling a story. I'm not like a storyteller that tells a specific story. I just don't even like that format too much. So I bet I can do a good job at it, I think so, at least. I think I can, you know, formulate a story, but I'm very good in conversation. So even when I've been hired to do a few conferences, uh, when I've done conferences, I love doing conferences where I'm in a panel or it's a fireside chat. That's where I can really. That's where I feel like the best storyteller. I love that type of storytelling where it's like kind of more on the flow, more on the go, more spontaneous, rather than kind of planning the story and being the someone on stage. Oof. Ugh. I don't know, it kind of it makes me nervous. That does not feel too fun to me. But maybe one day I'll get out of my comfort zone and do it. One day, can you speak to Pierre Telhan de Chardin? Who is that? A Jesuit priest. Oh, um, about him. Oh, I haven't read about him, Cynthia. I gotta check him out. Pierre Telihar de Chardin. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Thank you. I'll check him out. Jesuit priest. Just picked up Are You Are Enough. Oh yeah, yeah. That's a great book. Self-help books are criticized for giving a false sense of hope. Do you agree with that, Brian? The false sense of hope comes from you. Not you specifically, Brian, but uh, you, the person reading, the reader. It's up to you what you do with that sense of hope. If you tend to read a book and feel like everything's gonna be okay suddenly, if you read The Secret, everything's gonna be okay. That's on you. It's not on Rhonda Byrne for writing The Secret. It's on you. If you see a video of mine, I'm not saying you to anyone specifically, the general you. If you're seeing my video, any of my videos, and you say, "Oh my God, I learned everything. Like now I know all of New York City. I'm perfect. New York City's vacation is gonna be wonderful," and then it isn't. It's not on me. So it's not on you. It's not on the storyteller, on the self-help writer, to give you any type of realistic sense of hope or not. I think it's important that if you do any type of content, maybe a book or a video or a movie, that you're very transparent as to what your qualifications are. I find that important. Even though I feel like I can tell any type of history I want to, even though I feel like I can have this conversation to a few hundred people at the same time, I'm very clear that this type of conversation, I'm not a teacher, I'm not a spiritual teacher, I'm not a philosopher, I'm not a self-help writer, I am not a journalist, or I'm not academic. In my regular urbanist videos that you see all the time, I'm not a history lecturer, I'm not a professor, I'm not a journalist. I'm an entertainer, but I'm very clear about those qualifications. And being that, the expectations, you're already giving people the proper expectations. Some people might completely misinterpret it. So I unfortunately had someone message me asking if they can use me as a source for their high school essay in in their high school essay for like a final or something like that. And when I read that, I had to tell the person, is like, hey, don't use me as a source, because while you might have learned a story about history from me, I'm only telling it. I did not this. I'm not a academic, and I did not even provide sources of where I may tell the story. I don't provide sources because I'm making videos every day, so don't bother to write a list of sources. And but now I'm starting to write a little bit more sources because I want to give credit to where I'm getting my knowledge from. So you can see in the bottom, the links below, I always put now like the general sources I use. But nonetheless, I told her honestly in direct message, like, hey, don't use me as a source. I recommend going to Wikipedia, finding these articles, finding the articles in the references, and finding the sources of where Wikipedia gets their information from. And that's a great way to find good sources because you end up finding first-hand sources or second-hand sources. First-hand sources like someone who directly experienced it. So I could be a good first-hand source for how New York City was in 2020. Like I could be a good first-hand source for that because I documented it. But I'm not a good first-hand source for Abraham Lincoln because I wasn't there. But second-hand sources are someone who's an academic or a journalist, someone who is reading directly from a series of first-hand sources and coming to a story that they're making up, a story that they're compiling, which is history. So they're compiling a story from an array of first-hand sources. That's second source. Tertiary source is like Wikipedia. There's a group of people compiling from different sources, secondary and first sources, and making a tertiary source. So at most, I can be considered a tertiary source. But if in any academic field, in college or even in high school, you should not be using tertiary sources. I learned that in high school. Like, I did not reference Wikipedia in high school. I use Wikipedia, but I didn't reference it. So, what did I eat today? Avocado toast. All right. Let me answer the last remaining questions real quickly. Ariel, I spent the whole day photographing Iowa's snowy, frozen landscape. Inspired by you. Going to get a gimbal and a wireless mic to start doing vids and streams. Oh, awesome, Bernard. Can't wait to see them. Elisa says, I sparked curiosity. Indeed, I do. What's the currently most interesting period of history for me? Ancient history, prehistory. So I'm very curious to what happened before 5000 BC. Very curious. There's no way of actually getting first-hand sources because written history started at 5000 BC, as far as we know. But there's some very interesting findings that show that maybe there is some type of sources for history that's older than 5000 BC. Maybe there is some history to be learned. Maybe. That's why I like the movie Noah. So while some people can abuse this type of field of study to be conspiracy, I am going in with a genuine curiosity for fun because I'm curious what happened before 5000 BC. 4K says I'm definitely a primary resource of inspiration. Cynthia says oral history. Yeah, in a way, yeah. It's oral history storytelling. Thank you so much for this chat. Hungry of moments like this. I love learning new stuff. Sounds like you would be a great archaeologist. Probably not. I don't like studying pots. No, studying pots for years ain't my thing. I would get bored very quickly. I definitely won't be a great archaeologist. So did Kay write her good story, Kay? If you can copy and paste it again. I'm trying to find it. You're a great storyteller yourself. Your chat is so relaxing. Oh, I'm glad. Roseanne says, there are sometimes that Ariel's answers to choose to answer a question. Sometimes people don't fit in with the story of the day. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I just end up intuitively picking questions to answer. So sorry I don't get to all of them. But that's the nature of the show. The bigger the audience, the harder it is to get to all of them. But in the future, I might consider doing live video strictly for either members of YouTube or Patreon or Facebook supporters. So if it really gets out of a crazy amount of people, then if you become a patron or supporter, you might get access to exclusive live stream where you'll most likely get my attention. Kay said that her magnesium levels are good. Thank you so much, Elisa, for letting us know. Kay, sorry I missed your original comment. Kay has been going through a little bit tough time during this year. She's been watching for 4 whole years and more, like a little bit more, 4 years, because she watched me when I did my very first live stream. So Kay got her magnesium levels up. That means Kay is in good health. So everyone give a warm round of hearts to Kay. Glad you're in good health. Hopefully you can travel again. Patreon meetup would be cool. You're a good man, says Luke. Oh, glad, Luke. And Bernal says, I would do the same right before COVID, says Cynthia. Cynthia, I hope you get to it soon. Love watching your wanders, says Sally. Have you ever come across Wendwater Street? Ooh, never heard of that street. Wandwater, never heard of it. Let me know if anyone has heard of that street. Wandwater, interesting. I gotta look into that. Wow, all right. Ooh. Patreon, how much? $5 is the minimum for all of them, for any of them. So Patreon or Facebook or YouTube, $5. But again, I do offer these videos for free on YouTube / Facebook. So yeah, the only thing I can offer beyond that is my time or extra videos. So that's why I offer patrons. I think we should let Ariel go and enjoy his dinner. So for we're reaching the 3-hour mark. This was such a wonderful chat, everyone. I so excited to keep showing you more of New York City. Stay tuned for Penn Station tomorrow, and stay tuned for wonderful places. You might see the Museum of Natural History, a nice gorilla live. You might see Flushing again, maybe a Long Island Railroad ride, maybe some other interesting types of videos. And hopefully, if the pandemic gets a little bit better, crossing fingers, in 2 or 3 months, other parts in the US, and then if flights get better, maybe abroad, and finally to the grand expedition of the British Isles. and Wendy, who was it? Wendy said 4 hours. Wendy, maybe soon. It happens, but usually a 4-hour chat will require some type of drinking and some type of beautiful European street. So maybe when I'm again, maybe out in the pubs in the middle of the countrysides of Ireland, maybe I'll do a 4-hour chat. So everyone, thank you so much for watching. 1 p.m. every Saturday and Wednesday are my videos. So 1 p.m. tomorrow is the scheduled live videos. Every other video is at random times. So you just gotta be able to put on notifications or just get lucky and see them when it's live. So everyone, thank you so much for watching. Check out 4K, who's watching right now, has been so kind of leaving a bunch of additional supplement comments. Check him out. He's also a streamer and live video or video creator. And also Bernal will be making videos soon. So maybe subscribe to Bernal as well. Everyone, keep being awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Keep being awesome and always keep on exploring. Have a great day, everyone. And I'm gonna do a wave this direction because the other way is just my air conditioner. So let's make this a little bit better wave. Bye-bye. Actually, I'll show you my desk. Let's do that. Bye-bye. There we go.